friends. It's so great to see you. For those of you who are watching the replay rather than tuning in live, I want to welcome you and let you know that we are going to be talking today about my experience with the elimination diet and how we did it, some of the foods that we ate, and I've got stuff prepared back here. I'm going to be cooking for you, and it should be a great amount of fun. So I'm so happy you're here. You will want to go ahead and skip through the first 5 minutes of this video if you're watching the recording, because it's going to take me a few minutes to make sure I've got everything we need all set up here. So we'll get all that going, and if you are here live, it looks like we've got a few people. Hello! Then let me know where you're tuning in from, and I love to hear what the weather's like. Oh, Sandra made it. Hi, Todd. Hello, Done. It's so nice to see you all here. I'm so happy. All right, I'm gonna check my computer and do all those computery things real quick. So hang with me. And if you're here, make sure you give me a thumbs up, because that helps everybody see that we are live. All right. So I'm just going to look through the computer, and there it is. It always takes it a minute before it shows up. That way I can see your comments down here. All right. Okay. Ooh, hello from New York. J9 Oily Life. That's fun. It is absolutely gorgeous here in Idaho today. It's sunny and beautiful, and this is our week to start planting the garden. So, woo, kind of nerve-wracking and exciting all at the same time. Raining in Toronto, huh? Oh, hi Melody, I'm so glad you made it from Texas. Hello, all sorts. Let's see here. All right. Well, it's so great to have you guys. Oh, hello, Green Gables Homestead. I'm happy you are here. And oh, Nearly Organic Noshing. All of my friends, you guys, this is so fun. Oh, Shannon, you're awesome. You set a reminder. Way to go. Thank you. Oh, William Garcia from Nogales, Arizona. How fun. So we used to live down in Arizona, and I grew up in the Tucson area. So we used to go down to Nogales when I was growing up, back when it was not quite as crazy as it is down there now. All right, pretty cool. So for everybody who's just joining us, I will give you a quick recap of what we have going on today. Oh, Simple Real Good Path. Hi, April. So fun to see you here. And the Dirty Blonde Homesteader is also from Arizona, so we always send each other cactus love. All right, so anyway, what we're doing today, we are going to be cooking a meal that you would be able to eat on an elimination diet. So we've been talking a lot about gluten-free, what that means, you know, how to really cleanse all the ick out of your body so it's not inflamed and upset at you. And so the elimination diet is how we got started with it all. And so we're going to talk about that, what it means, what it all involves, and I'm going to cook some food for you so you guys can see kind of a sample meal. And this is something that is real typical around our house. Alrighty, so for anybody who's just come in, if you guys can give me a thumbs up, that's a big help. It helps the show be visible so more people can join in. And if you have questions, make sure you put them in all caps. That really helps me to be able to see the questions and helps the moderators. And then, let's see, there was a couple other things. Oh, I wanted to let you guys know we are having the same issue that I think every YouTube creator out there is having, and that is YouTube keeps unsubscribing people for who knows what reasons. They say, when you talk to the YouTube people, they say there's no problems and it's not really happening, but we're losing subscribers quickly, and there's a lot of people that are saying, I thought I was subscribed to you and then I just realized I wasn't. So the way that you can combat that is just to click on turn on the notifications, and you can set your settings and you can have it email you however you want to do. So make sure that if you haven't done that yet, you turn on notifications so that you don't end up one of the people who got unsubscribed. So that would be a big help for us, and then hopefully we won't disappear in your feed. So I'm going to say hi to a couple more people and then we will dive right in. Alrighty. Oh, my friend Janet is here. Hi, Janet. Do you think people also subscribe accidentally? I do think that that happens some. I'm friends with a lot of YouTube creators, and this is something that all creators are having a hard time with. So that's why I feel like it's probably kind of an algorithm issue. So, hey Yvonne, hello from New Mexico. Is it warm in New Mexico today? I would think so. Oh, thank you, Melody. All right, guys. So I guess let's first get started with the food. I'm gonna get it going, and then we will work on kind of talking through all of this while it's cooking. So, hello Diane from Ontario, how wonderful. What I'm gonna cook today, well, first let's talk about real quick the foods that we eat on the elimination diet, and I will go into why we eat them and all that kind of stuff here in just a minute. But the foods that we eat on the elimination diet are grass-fed and wild-caught meats, and fruits and vegetables, coconut products, and olive products. And that's about it. And it doesn't include tomatoes and potatoes. So this is a healing phase that we're talking about. This isn't a permanent thing, but this is a healing phase where you can give your body some rest. So the foods that we're going to be using today are kind of a basic thing that you can add on to. So I'm going to give you guys a basic flavor, profile that you can expand on depending on what's in season and what vegetables you have. So let me see, you can see me still. All right, so I have chopped up cabbage here, and then I have celery, and because we are in spring, I don't have onions, so I have chive flowers, and then I have carrots, and we are going to get it in the cast iron skillet, because then you are going to have the most flavor possible by using cast iron skillet. And then I'll throw in a couple things that we've recently harvested or preserved.
So you got a question already.
What's that? Oh, okay.
How often should you do a healing phase?
Oh, that's a really good question, and it's going to pertain to what I'm going to talk about later in the show too. Just a second here. So when you are first getting started going gluten-free, doing something like this is really, really important because it allows your body to just cool down and breathe and heal itself. So definitely when you start, and then it's also really, really good to do if you've had any kind of a real severe reaction, which is something I have a story for you guys all about. Okay, so I've got coconut oil here in my cast iron skillet. It's 1 head of cabbage, and I'm going to throw in the celery with this. Now, if I had onions, winter storage onions, those would be all diced up and they would be going in the pan as well. But since it's spring, I have chive flowers. And if I put them in now, they will have no flavor at all towards the end. So this is something you just throw in right at the very end to be able to have the flavor.
Okay. Grizz is wondering what you're making.
What am I making? Melanie's elimination diet food. It's gonna be a wilted cabbage with just a few other vegetables thrown in. It's just something that you can do that's going to have a lot of flavor, but you can alter it depending on what vegetables you have in your house. So it's not really a recipe, it's just kind of a thing. Alright, so we have coconut oil, we have cabbage, it's shredded cabbage, and then the celery that's in here, and I turned it up to high just to get everything started, but now it's coming down around medium, and I'm just going to let it sit in there and wilt and let the cabbage start to caramelize. Okay, so let's talk about this elimination diet, what it is, why we need to do it, and all that kind of thing. All right. Thank you, Todd. All right.
See what Grizz said?
No, what's that?
Right above Todd.
Good. My cooking ain't a diet, but people lose weight on it because we'll eat it. Oh, that's funny. So this is not a diet as in a fad or something to lose weight or anything like that. Oh, hello, Flying versus Farm. This is something that is more of a lifestyle and something that, sorry guys, I'm gonna have to grab a drink. So by saying diet, all I mean is just like a food, I don't know, regimen or just a way of eating. So it's not a scam. Hello, Candace B from Ontario. We have lots of people from Ontario. How fun. Okay, so the elimination diet, like I said, is a healing phase. And what it does is it allows your body to just calm down, go into a relaxed, healing state so that you can heal your gut and take care of the issues that are in your gut. So I want to talk to you about why that is important. All right. People who have food intolerances, or if you have digestive issues, if you have a foggy brain, if you have fibromyalgia, if you have autoimmune diseases, if you have chronic illness of any sort, you are most likely dealing with some kind of a leaky gut issue. Now, let me explain to you what that is. It is what it sounds like, but I'll explain to you what the inside of your stomach is like, or your digestive tract, and how that all works. So inside of your intestines, inside the large intestine, you have what are called microvilli. And so I want you to imagine like a shag carpet. You have all these little fingers that are all inside of they are the actual lining of your intestinal tract. So you have all these little microvilli, and when they're healthy, they're like this. And you know, it's kind of like seaweed where it's sitting there and it moves around, and they can just absorb all the nutrients that are in your digestive tract. So all that yummy, good, healthy food that you eat all goes down in there, and those microvilli just are able to absorb and feed your body. Now what happens if you're having any kind of digestive upset, if you're having any kind of leaky gut issue, you have these little pieces that look like this, and you've got the microvilli on top. What happens is this starts to deteriorate, and these things that are not getting the nutrition that they need, or are stress can cause it, environmental toxins. So we've talked a little bit about what's on our food and the importance of organic food and all of that. If you are eating all of these pesticides and your body's taking in all these chemicals from all these different things, if you're drinking a bunch of unhealthy things for you, if you're on a bunch of pain medication, all of those kind of things can cause the intestinal lining to start to shrivel up. So this is, instead of being tight up against each other, it starts to separate as this kind of deteriorates. And then these nice long fingers here, they get like this. So then you have these spaces that are between your hands. And what happens is the food comes down your GI tract and it gets caught in those spaces. Now underneath those spaces, all down under here, is access to your blood. And so that those food particles, the bacteria, microorganisms, all that starts to go through your actual lining of your intestines. It gets down into your blood. Now what happens when it gets down into your blood is that your immune system freaks out because that does not belong in your blood. And so it gets right down in there and your body starts fighting it. So it starts sending out all of these different immune responses. Now you have a few different immune responses, and we can talk about that if you guys want to. But first you send out the first responders, and they attack real hard and they come on hard and fast. And those first responders, when you have this going on, are not going to be able to handle it all because you're eating 3 and 5 and 7 times a day, and it just can't clean your blood out. So then it starts to create all of these little soldiers that are going to stand in there and do the work of the immune system. So you have a first responder immune system, then you have this secondary immune response. The secondary immune response is one where it creates these profiles. So it says, remember this. It's kind of like if you had a wanted poster. And it says, this is an invader. This is somebody we don't want here. So when you see this person, this profile pop up, and that'll be things like gluten and dairy and the things that cause us upset. When you see that, attack it. So that's your next response. And so you have all of this stuff going on, and it's just crazy going on in there. And it causes inflammation. So, if you get a cut on your hand and it's not healing very well, you'll see it's red and sore. That's what's going on the inside of your body when you have leaky gut. You're red and sore and tender. And so we have to give our body time to heal from all of that. And that's what we're working on doing, is healing all those microvilli and allowing this to plump back up and not be deteriorated and inflamed and sore, so that it can close the gaps in your gut, so that you can absorb the nutrition you need to absorb, so that you are getting healthy from the foods that you're eating rather than it harming you from the foods that you are eating. Okay, so that was a huge information dump. And I'm going to look at the comments for a minute. I'm happy to take questions on what we talked about there. I'll stir the food. And so...
No questions yet.
No questions yet. Okay, if you have any questions about all of that I just threw at you, let me know. And I will also be, be posting pictures and information on the Facebook page, and I'll put it in the description of the video, okay? All right. Oh, hi, Luana. It's so nice to see you here. I eat and drink a lot of probiotics, kombucha, and milk kefir. That is wonderful, and that really does help recolonize your gut. One of the reasons that you can have leaky gut is just a lack of the proper probiotics and bacteria in your stomach. So that's really, really good. All right.
Can we drink coffee or tea?
Okay, so during the elimination diet, yes, you can drink tea during the healing phase, as long as it is an herbal tea. You don't want to be doing anything with caffeine, which I know is really hard. And then the reason that we don't do coffee during that time is that it is something that's a cross-reactive food. So if you didn't hear about cross-reactive foods, then watch the video from 2 weeks ago. I'll explain all about cross-reactive foods. Now, if you are somebody who is hooked on coffee, then by all means, start the elimination diet, keep your coffee. It's really important that you don't just go cold turkey and crazy on this. There's a lot of resources on the internet for how to wean yourself off. You need to do it a little bit at a time, because otherwise you're going to not function, you're going to have headaches, you're going to have withdrawals, and it's not pretty. So it's something that you need to work into a caffeinated tea, and then you need to work yourself down from there. But your body can do a lot of healing while you're doing all of that. So don't feel like you can't do the elimination diet while you're working through all of that. And it's not to say that you'll never have it again. You just need to give yourself some time to heal and without the caffeine in your body. Okay, I'm going to stir what's going on behind me real quick here. So if you're just joining us, I have cabbage and celery in here. So someday we'll be fancy and I'll have a camera over here so you guys can see what's going on, but I'm not fancy yet. Okay, so we talked about what goes on in your digestive tract and how that all works and why it's important to have, why it's important to heal your gut. And now let's talk a little bit about leaky gut and what it does. Oh, can you do this diet for kids? Yes, 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 yes. When we started all of this, my kids were having, not the issues that I was having, but they were having some issues. And I just took the whole family off of the food that we were eating and started us all on this elimination diet. And it was really, really wonderful to watch their bodies just become so calm. We have some issues with ADHD and I don't know, some various spectrum issues, and to watch the kids just settle down and to watch their bodies heal, it was just absolutely beautiful. So, hey Will, so happy you stopped by.
Sandra had a question.
Okay. Let me find it.
Right under that.
Okay, is it important to use cast iron or stainless steel do? Stainless steel is fine. I love the flavor from the cast iron because I feel like you get a little richer flavor, but I've used stainless steel and it still comes out wonderfully. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Okay. So, sorry guys, I lost my train of thought for a second here. Okay, so leaky gut and why it's important to heal it. So we talked about all of this crazy immune response that happens when you do have leaky gut, but the other things that I want to bring up about that is that it can cause autoimmune disorders. It can cause things like the fibromyalgia that I deal with, or it can cause, RA is autoimmune. There's Crohn's. The list goes on and on. Hypothyroidism. Hashimoto's is an autoimmune. So all of those things come from when you've had these food sensitivities that you didn't realize, and these food sensitivities go undetected until you have all of these systemic issues going on, and then you go, what in the world is going on here? And what has happened is those nice fingers down there in your digestive tract are gone. They're nubs now, and you're not getting the nutrition from your food that you need, and it's very, very difficult for your body to thrive because you have all of this crazy immune system responses, and your immune system starts turning on your body. So that's why we need to heal our gut, is so that we can restore all this stuff. So now I want to talk about, was there any other questions I need to do?
No.
Okay. I wish I knew this 13 years ago. I wish I knew this 13 years ago too. I had all kinds of difficulties because of all of these food issues, but thankfully, the amazing thing is, and this is something I really, really want you guys to understand, is that our bodies were made to heal. You get a cut, it heals. You have trauma, it heals. You go to the doctor and they cut you open and do whatever they need to do, it heals. That's what our bodies were created to do, was to heal. And so in doing that, when we allow ourselves to heal. The insides of us can heal up as well, and it does take some time, but it is possible. So I went from having, these crazy amount of food allergies and so many things that I couldn't eat, and I was restricted to this elimination diet for such a very long time that but I did heal. I'm in a way better place now than I was before, and so I want you all to understand that there is hope, and while we wish we knew this 10 and 20 years ago, you still can make a huge difference in your life moving forward. Okay. Oh, I forgot that I'm supposed to say I'm not a doctor. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is not meant to treat or diagnose anything. Hey, Ronnie and Mary, I'm so happy you guys are here. So this is something where you guys need to go do your own research. You need to, and I'll give you some links to get you started, and then you can go from there. You can make your own decisions. I will post some links for some books. There's some by some really awesome functional medicine doctors, and they can get you on the road to healing. So, all right, I'm going to stir this again real quick. Okay. All right. So now I want to talk to you guys about getting started on all of this. A lot of people, when they get started, they say, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to an allergist, which is not a bad thing. That's a great thing. But I want you to understand a couple things about how your body works and how your immune system works. So there's actually 5 or 6 different immune responses that you can have to all kinds of things. Think of your immune system as 5 different parts, okay? Or maybe 6. But there's 3 that your food will really, 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 I will put links for the books on I'm sorry, I meant to have all of that done ahead of time, and then I got involved with kids. So the links for everything that I talk about will be in the description of this video once it processes. It will also be over on my Facebook page. So if you can find my Facebook page, The Road to the Farm, I will make sure that everything that I've talked about today is linked there. All the lists of the foods, everything, all the resources will be there, okay? All right, so anyway, our immune system, we have several different components to that. And when you go to the allergist and they say, okay, well, you're allergic to bananas and strawberries and peanuts and this bean and that bean, and lettuce is a problem, and avocados if they've been sprayed, and you have this list that's like 200 foods, and you kind of freak out and you go, oh my gosh, this is a really big problem, and what am I going to do about it? So that's when you get either blood work done or you get a patch put on, and they say, okay, you've got all these different foods. That is called an IgE response. So it's an immunoglobulin E response that your immune system is responding to. So those are your immediate responders. That's going to be like if you put something on your skin and all of a sudden it's red and it's itchy. You go, I'm having a reaction to that. That's going to be your IgE response, and that's the easiest one to test for. So when you go get tested for allergies, that's what they're usually going to test you for first. Now, when we're talking about food sensitivities and talking about gut permeability and all of these issues, the leaky gut issues, it's most likely going to be your IgG response. So the immunoglobulin G response. And that one is your long-term fighters. So that's the people, that's your immune system responders that are going to be fighting infection. So you have your first responders who come in and kind of, they get the adrenaline running and they get everybody excited and get it all started. They start the process. Then the IgG response is going to be the ones that come in and make sure that they're fighting the infection until it's all the way gone. So the IgG response is one that is usually the response that you're going to have to food intolerances. And it's not going to present like the rash that you get on your arms or the instant like, oh, terrible stomach ache. If you have an anaphylactic allergy, that's going to be an IgE. If you have something that breaks out quickly, if you have something where you eat it and you instantly have a stomach ache, those are going to be your IgE response. The IgG response is the one that's probably going to cause most of your leaky gut issues. And the IgG response is going to be the one that causes headaches, that causes foggy brain, that causes autoimmune issues, that causes all of these different pains in your body, aches, sleep issues. I keep seeing that pop up and I'll come back and address that. But the IgG response is the one you really need to worry about. And that's not something that you're going to get tested for usually at the allergist.
So that's something to talk about with Yvonne. She says her daughter had an allergy test, and it showed that she had no food allergies.
Yeah.
So how often does that happen where someone's told they don't have food allergies but do?
Yes, so that is really, really common. If you suspect that there's gut issues going on, or that you have digestive issues going on, and you go to the allergist and they're like, no, everything's great. You don't have environmental allergies, you don't have food allergies. That is really common because they're probably only testing the IgE response. And so you need to go back and you need to test the IgG response and the IgA response. Those are the two that are going to tell you about food intolerances, which is not like an anaphylactic allergy. It's a totally different antibody that's found in totally different systems within your body. So that's something that you need to get a different kind of testing for.
Okay.
All right.
Rich asked earlier, do you think using your own grown foods in this diet is a must?
No, it's not. It's not. I do love it. It's more cost effective if you are able to, but it's not at all important to start there. And in fact, when we got started, if I would have had to grow my food and learn how to cook and do all of this stuff, I would have never survived. So we started all of this with food right from the grocery store. I do think organic food is definitely the best way to go. I would do everything you can to buy organic food because then you're eliminating some more of the toxins that are on your food. But if you can't do that, then do it with what you can do because you're still going to find a lot of healing benefits. Okay.
So, the question about the sleep.
Okay. So April is wondering, did you ever have sleep issues, and how did you handle replacing lost or low vitamin nutrients? Okay, that's a really good question. Yes, I had really severe sleep issues. I would have insomnia where I was awake for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours a night. And then I would not only have trouble falling asleep and staying asleep, I would also have a lot of trouble with my mind just racing and my thoughts being absolutely crazy and totally irrational. So I would wake up in the night and I would have panic attacks while I should have been sleeping, and I would have complete paralysis because of what was going on in my brain during those sleepless hours. And then I would finally fall back asleep a couple hours after, the sun would come up, and then I would start to fall asleep a little bit. And sleep for a couple hours, and then I would realize all of those irrational thoughts that I had, and I would have to kind of work through all of that. So there was a ton of emotional trauma that kind of went along with the no sleep issue. Okay.
How did you handle replacing lost or low vitamins, nutrients?
Oh, okay. So the best thing to do to replace lost or low vitamins and nutrients is to heal your gut, because then your gut can absorb those foods. So if you're taking supplements, if you're eating all the right foods and all of that, and you don't have these microvilli, this is what feeds your body. It doesn't matter what you're putting in there. If you don't have that good shag carpet in your digestive system to take those nutrients and feed your body, you will be depleted. So the best thing you can do is to really work on healing your gut, and then as you do that, your body's going to absorb more and more and more and more nutrients. And so taking a bunch of supplements while you are in this state is not going to do you very much good. So I'm all about food is medicine.
All Sorts says it doesn't have much organic available in her area, but can have it delivered. She just doesn't actually select what you get. Maybe you can point out how we did that.
Yeah.
And that's actually fun.
So I think that if you guys didn't hear the question, it was, I don't have a lot of organics in my area. I can have it delivered, but I can't select what I'm going to be eating. So we did that with a program called Bountiful Baskets down in Arizona. And I never knew what was coming in the basket. It usually was seasonal because it was what we could get for the best price. And that is why what I'm cooking for you guys today is something that's just kind of a basic thing that you can do with all kinds of foods. So I would jump on that. I would just dive right in, and then you plan your meals according to what comes, and you learn how to combine your foods so that you get really yummy things, and you don't cook from recipes because it's very difficult to take that box and go, okay, what recipe does this fit into? But you can add the different ingredients together and really get amazing flavors from 3 and 4 simple ingredients. Okay. I'm just looking back through to see if I can catch back up again. Okay. Okay. So, hi, Chemical Free Girl. That's my friend Colleen. How did your panic go away? From foods, I've suffered from anxiety for over 20 years. Okay, so the panic went away, and it went away within a couple of weeks by doing what I'm doing here. That's where you just cut out all of the things that can cause inflammation and you let your body heal. And I was blown away. And I can tell when I am, if I enjoy too many muffins and have lots of sugar and I don't get those fresh ingredients in there, and I don't, make sure that I have enough of the really healthy meats and fats, then I will start to be like, I get a little bit tizzy, and I'll know, okay, it's time for me to come back. It's time for me to refocus and center myself. It's time for me to take care of my body and make sure it has the nutrients it needs. So I do believe that it all revolves around your food and being able to get the nutrition from your food. All right.
How's the food doing?
It's doing good. I can hear it. You guys should we take a look? So I'll bring the phone over here, or I'll put it on a plate or something in a little bit. But you can see the cabbage is starting to wilt, and it's got some caramelization going on. So I'm gonna throw the carrots in there. And then this is the fun, easy part, guys. If you haven't canned meat yet, I'm gonna show you why you need to do it. Because we're gonna have a meal super fast here. Don't freak out, that really was sealed. I know how to open a Tatler lid without a device. So it's got all the broth in there, so that's why I'm putting it in right now. And that way it can just steam the carrots. All right. Okay.
The last one just popped up.
How did you cope with kids needing extra carbs or being hungry? Oh my gosh. So yeah, we've got 4 boys. Now with the kiddos, because they didn't need as much healing as I did. After about 3 months, then we added in rice. But like my husband said, they do eat constantly. They're kind of like cows. They graze. And so, we did a lot of things like bananas, because organic bananas aren't very expensive. Carrots, they eat so many carrots. And so we did a lot of those kind of things. I would cook. It's really, really important when you guys are doing stuff like this to really focus on healthy fats, because that's more important than the actual carbs. You're going to get lots of carbs because you're going to be eating fruits and vegetables. You're going to get lots of fiber from all of that. So what you need to focus on are the healthy fats. And on an elimination diet, you use coconut fat if you don't have any known allergies to that. And then you also use olive fats. So those two are both cold pressed. They're ones that don't cause inflammation in your body. In fact, they are anti-inflammatory. So if you are using those kind of fats, and then we don't cut any of the fats off of any of our meats, because those we're eating really healthy meats. We're using grass-fed and wild-caught and organic, non-GMO, all that stuff. So make sure that, sorry, that one threw me off a little bit. Make sure that you're eating really, really healthy fats, and that will actually fill your kids up a lot more than the need for more carbs. But don't feel like your kids need to do this for a really long extended time. If you are doing this with children, if they're hungry, then do what you need to do. See how they do with a potato, see how they do with rice, some of the more simple, easier to digest things. All right. Oh, Hope's Homestead is here. Yay! And Homestead Tessie. Oh my goodness, we have so many friends here. Thank you, girls, for coming. All right. All right. Is there anything else that did I miss?
So did you mention the fats from the meat?
Yes. So make sure you do keep the fats on your meats, and that will fill you up. And also, for all of you guys who have had trouble with sleep and anxiety, the fats from your meats and the coconut oil and all of that stuff, and taking your fresh vegetables and slathering it with the olive oil, is something that will reduce it'll reduce your anxiety by an enormous amount. So those fats are so essential. They will balance your hormones. They will balance your mood. I remember there was times where Jesse was like, whoa, you're a little bit crazy. And so I would make sure that I upped my avocado intake, or I started putting more oil on my potatoes or something like that. And that really settles the anxiety down in a lot. Have you ever made fat bombs? Yes, they're very yummy. So fat bomb, if you don't know, is something where a lot of people take coconut oil, and you can use some kind of flavoring or essential oil, or and you just put it in the freezer, and then you can suck on them, and they're kind of like candy, and they melt in your mouth. And so yes, if you are not getting enough, then do things like fat bombs, because it really, 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 really will help your mood an enormous amount.
Should emphasize that it's the fats from grass-fed beef.
Yes, so make sure that you, if you are eating lots of fats from the meats, make sure that your meats are grass-fed. Make sure that they are wild-caught. If you are not, then go back a couple weeks and watch the video all about why that's really important. But the toxins are stored in the fats of the animals, so you want really good, healthy animals.
Mention how much weight you lost when you went on the
Yeah,
diet.
so this is something I've had so many women that are just like, oh, I can't eat all that fat, and they kind of freak out. And they're usually somebody that is on some kind of a low-fat diet and trying hard to lose weight. So when I got started with all of this, I was 60 pounds overweight, and I was really struggling with my health. and I started eating all of this yummy fat on everything and cooking in all these fats. And I dropped 22 pounds in the first 3 weeks, and all I did was cook and eat. I didn't do any kind of exercise. It was my body was regulating itself and it found its happy place. So now I feel like, I am myself again. I'm normal, I'm human. And I don't do anything to maintain this other than, she ate a lot. I ate and I ate and I ate, and I still do. I eat more than my husband does. And you can see it's not really hurting me. So, so that's something where your body, when it's happy, it normalizes. So I'm gonna stir the food real quick. If you guys have questions, pop them there in all caps, okay? Okay, the carrots are steaming beautifully.
Todd says I'm on the couch tonight.
Oh, that's funny. I don't mind talking about how much I eat. I like to eat. Let's see. All Sorts says, I hear you, Melanie. I lost a lot of weight myself and have never felt better, although I fluctuate within about 10 pounds or so, but have accepted this as normal. Yeah, that is, I will fluctuate too, depending on what I'm eating. If I am, sorry, I got a gnat. If I am, I didn't get it. I'm sorry, guys. I can tell though when I start to put on weight, that usually means that I've got some kind of an imbalance in my gut. So if I'm fluctuating very much, I will go back to something like the elimination diet for a week or so, and I'll be real careful and a little more considerate about what I'm doing. And that way I'm not, the weight just drops back off and things normalize again. So I do use that as a marker to tell how my body is doing. Okay. All right. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much for all the sweet words there. All right. Is there anything else? Oh, so I have a story to tell you guys, and I was telling you I was going to tell you, so now I better. 2 weeks ago, so it was right after my last live stream, I headed down into our town nearby, and I've been getting kind of low on makeup, so I wanted to try something new, and I went and I found this absolutely luscious, fabulous, organic makeup. And I flipped it over, I looked through the ingredients list, and I didn't see anything there that was going to be a trigger for me. So I was all excited. I was like, oh, it's so nice. While I was in the store, I rubbed it on, the sensitive parts of my skin to see if I was going to have a reaction. I put it up close to my eyes because my eyes will usually react really quick to makeup. And then I stuck it on my nose to see if it would cover the red nose that I get. And it was absolutely wonderful. I was tickled to bits. And I came home and I just let it sit on all those parts of my bodies, and I didn't have any trouble. So I thought, this is going to be wonderful. So the next day I decided to put it all on and get all dolled up and make a video. So I put it on and I was tickled to bits, but I was having a fibro attack. And it started on Saturday, the day before I put the makeup on. Now for me, fibro attacks usually last for 1 day. They used to last me for a week, now they usually last 1 day. I can usually just rest and give my body a little bit of time to recuperate. And so I was doing, I was resting, I was eating well, I was being really conscientious about what I was eating. I was doing what looked like everything right. But I was having this really horrific fibro attack, and I was hurting more than I had hurt in years. And so it kind of scared me. I was like, what in the world is going on here? Here I am. I feel like I've been on this healing trend for a long time, and then all of a sudden I've fallen off this cliff and I am really hurting bad. So anyway, I kept making videos throughout the week. I would get up, put my makeup on, and I would just continue to have this day after day after day after day. I would have this fibro flare. So anyway, after about 5 days of that going on, I had a day where I didn't have any reason to put any makeup on. So my body had 1 day of rest. And then after that one day of rest, then I got up and I put it all on so I could do another video. And my nose started to itch. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. And by the end of the video, I was like, wanting to tear at my nose. And then I started to get a headache. I started to get really, really foggy. I mean, you guys, not like a little bit of like, what's going on? Really, 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 really foggy. I was having a hard time understanding what the kids were doing, what was going on around me. And I started to get really nauseous. I was getting really, really sick to my stomach. And while all of this was going on, I was just sitting at the table and it was just kind of coming over me, and I was terribly scared about what was going on. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's something where God just gave me a moment of clarity or what happened, but all of a sudden I had this, you have to wash your makeup off now, or you are going to be too sick that you weren't even going to be able to wash it off. So at that point, the fibro in my arms was so bad, I felt like it was a struggle to even lift my arms up to wash my face. And I was in such a bad state mentally, the walk from one room to the next felt entirely overwhelming. To get out of the chair and to go wash my makeup off felt like it took all of the strength and all of the everything I could muster up. I mean, to me, at that moment, it felt like a survival situation where I had to muscle through, and I was like, Mel, you are going to end up in bed and you are not even going to be able to wash the makeup off your face. So I went in and I scrubbed it and I scrubbed it. I did it like 3 or 4 times, and immediately I started to feel better. And my brain started to clear, and it was just the most unbelievable experience, you guys. And it was all from an organic makeup that I read the ingredients. I didn't know that I had a sensitivity to any of those things that were that were part of that makeup. And it was such a scary, scary thing. So thankfully I was able to take a few things and rest my body, and the fibro flare went away. But the reason that I tell you guys that is because of that 1 week of wearing something on my face. I wasn't ingesting anything into my mouth. There was nothing going into my digestive tract. But I started having digestive issues. I was having the fibro flare because of all the inflammation in my body. And then it totally, and I'm sorry for all you men out there, I know you're going to freak out, totally ruined and messed up, freaked out my hormones and my cycle. So my period came a week early, and it was the most horrific, terrible, awful cramping and bleeding. It was just absolutely awful. So all of this happened because of what I was putting on my face. So at the beginning of the show, somebody asked me, when do we need to do these healing things? So now that I've come through all of this, my body has been damaged, and it's time to do another healing phase. So you will know when you get started, you need to do this, and then you will know when you have these episodes, or when your stomach just isn't quite right and you know that there's issues going on, that it's time to do it again. Also, if you are having any trouble with candida, or if you're just having, just enormous amounts of bloating, those are the times that it's really important to go back and do another healing phase until it feels like your body has calmed down. So there's my story, and thankfully here we are today. I'm doing so much better. I've come through all the big scary and I'm eating healthy food, and my body is finally calming down, and everything is going to be just fine. I'm going to heal up, and we are going to plant a big garden, and all kinds of fun is going to happen. So all right, so I think there's a few questions that have come in. Sandra says she's in a flare at the moment. I'm so sorry, sweetie. That just tears my heart up. I hope that you can find what's causing it. So yeah, I do have makeup on now, and this is the old makeup that I haven't had any issues with. It is also organic, and I don't know what the difference is between this and what I was wearing. It was a different brand. I've got to do some research on the ingredients, and I might go to a dermatologist and see if they can figure out what the heck that was, because it was scary. So All Sorts says, yikes. Sometimes there's things that aren't, or that are in products that aren't identified. She had some baby bottom cream that ended up having cortisone in it. So yeah, the cosmetic industry is not regulated quite like foods are, as far as having to put everything on the label. Okay, well, I think our food is just about ready, so let's go back to food for a minute. So the other thing, that we'll probably touch on in some other videos here pretty soon, guys, is bone broth is super healing for all of this stuff. So elimination diet food is really good, but also as you're researching things, look into bone broth. So I'm just going to throw that much out for today. But okay. So this has taken a little while to cook, but as you can see, it didn't hardly include any involvement for me. I stir it every so often, and that's about it. What kind of nonsense is Todd saying? I saw his name pop up, and then he left.
I'm going to have to delete his comment.
Okay, so I've been working on a video that's going to come out this upcoming week. About blanching vegetables and how to put them away in the freezer. So here's some of the vegetables that I did this week. These are green beans. So in here I have, you guys can kind of see, carrots, meat, cabbage, celery. It's all roasty toasty with lots of flavor. These are cooked green beans, just like if you buy frozen green beans from the grocery store. So if that's how you buy your vegetables, that's fine. We're doing lots of asparagus right now. These are the asparagus ends, because they can be kind of woody if you have the whole asparagus. Todd, no ketchup. Ketchup is not allowed. Alright, so that's going to go in there. I'm just going to stir it all around, and let me grab some salt and pepper.
Have you done a video on bone broth yet?
I have not done a video on bone broth. We need to do that. I'll mark that on the schedule, because I have a whole bunch of the beef bones from our beef that we need to do. Okay, kids have run off with the pepper, so since you guys aren't tasting it, then I would normally put pepper in it. Okay, now it's ready to go. So, look, these are one of my favorite spring treats. They're chive flowers. So instead of onions, we're putting in chive flowers, and they wilt super fast and they lose their flavor if you cook them. So just throw them in, stir it around, and call it done. Ooh, it's so pretty, guys. Okay. I'm going to dump it out here so you can see. Maybe. Okay.
Someone asked if we're using the Himalayan sea salt.
There you go. So that's what it looks like. We have in here I'll answer the salt question in just a second. There's the canned meat, so the broth is cooked into all of the food. There's cabbage, celery, the chives for the oniony flavor, and then the green beans and carrots and the asparagus ends. So this would be a normal everyday meal for us. That was just kind of a standard thing when we were getting started with all of this, and it's still something I do a lot of. So Himalayan salt. I love Himalayan salt. I think it's really good. The salt that I use, it's been melted. Real salt. It comes from Utah, and it's the same thing. It's got all the minerals still inside of it. And I got a pretty good energy boost when I switched from just table salt over to this kind of a salt. So Himalayan or real salt, any of that kind of thing, where you're getting all of those minerals, will be much healthier for you, and
it tastes so much better.
It tastes so much better, yeah. So, do you guys, here, I'll pull it back out one more time. Do you guys have any more questions about the food? So you can see there's no recipe. It's the vegetables that we have available right now. It's what we had in storage. But the flavor on this, what happens is, the cabbage here, I'll show you. The cabbage is caramelized, and so you get an enormous depth of flavor from the cabbage. And then you have the fresh and the bright greens. You have the oniony flavor from the chives, and all of that mixes together, and it just is so, so tasty. All right. So did we get everything?
Sandra says that your live show makes her Sunday evening.
Oh, well, Sandra, well, you make my live show, so there you go. Grizz said I would try that, but I would substitute and use Chinese chicken and put it on wild rice.
Probably that rooster that's eyeing them.
So yeah, that's the thing that's so fun about this is it is whatever you have on hand, that's what you use, and you can alter it to what flavors you enjoy. Now that we do eat rice, that's what I do is I put it on. I'll make a big pot of rice and we'll put it over a bed of rice. And the other thing that you could do, we've got the weeds that we talked about a couple weeks ago. You could take a bed of weeds, the lamb's quarters and dandelions, and just put that on the bottom, and then let the warm food wilt all of that. So there's a whole lot of things that you guys can do with this. Just take it and make it your own.
So how long did you do the elimination diet without rice? When did you feel like you were healed up enough you could start adding things?
So for me, for the kiddos, it was about 3 months, and they were just starving. So I said, I've got to do something. So the kids got rice after 3 months. For me, I would eat it every once in a while, but I was in such a terrible state, I didn't add it back into my diet for a year. I was able to do a little bit of potatoes, but I did a lot more sweet potatoes and squashes and stuff like that than a starchy potato. And so it was about a year before I really felt like I was starting to pull out of all of this and be able to eat more food.
What kind of rice? Any special rice?
Make sure it's organic. And I prefer rice from the USA because then the arsenic is not an issue. A lot of the rice over in that comes from China has high arsenic in it. So the rice that we like to use, it comes from Costco, and it's just brown rice. It's short brown rice, and it's really good. But if your gut is super duper inflamed and you really need some rice, then use white rice for the first little while. You're not going to get any nutrition from it, but you're also not going to get that horrible inflammation that you can get from the whole of the rice.
Do you rinse your rice?
I do rinse it if it's white rice. I don't rinse it if it's brown rice. And then if you are eating white rice, make sure you eat very, very small portions, because that can spike your blood sugar and cause the same kind of reaction. So if you are using white rice, use it very sparingly.
So, Reagan asks, I have terrible psoriasis. Any suggestions?
So my experience with psoriasis and skin issues is that it usually starts with your liver. And if you are having trouble with your liver, you've probably already had troubles with your gut to start out with. So start by healing your gut, which will then help your body heal its liver. And if your liver heals, then your skin will heal. So it's usually 3 layers deep on that one. So a lot of bone broth and a lot of this kind of food to let your body and the inflammation settle down.
So Homestead Tessie mentioned that coconut oil is very healing. I wonder how many people actually know you get coconut oil that doesn't taste like coconut.
Yes, that's another thing that my husband hates coconut oil. Well, he hates coconuts of any sort. So we use the oh, I've still got this on. We use the refined or expeller pressed coconut oil for cooking, and that way you don't have the coconut flavor on all of this. Yeah, here's one of them. I buy it from a few different places. This is one I have here. It's just, you don't smell anything. It's kind of like it gives you the richness of butter without the actual flavor of butter. So that's what we use for most of our cooking, unless you really want that coconut flavor. So, all right. Well, is there...
Good conversations going on.
Yeah. I love what goes on in the comments. And you guys, I'm a little bit greedy, and I sit here at the end of the live show, and I don't turn off the live show quite yet because I want to go back and read through all of the comments that I missed.
What about grapeseed oil?
Oh gosh. Okay, so we could do an entire episode all about different oils. I'm just going to say for this, stick to the coconut oil and the olive oil. The only oils that I think that anybody should be eating are ones that can be cold pressed. If it can't be cold pressed, we don't have any business putting it in our body, because they have to scrub it with detergents. It goes rancid with the heat that it takes to extract them. So that's a whole bunch of oils that we don't eat. All right. Yeah, and Luana says coconut oil can take the heat that others can't. If it is the unrefined virgin coconut oil, it can't take a lot of heat, but the expeller pressed or the refined can take a whole lot of heat. So it's really important. I don't cook with olive oil. Olive oil is something I use for dressing. It's really healthy for you, but it's not one you should be heating up at temperatures like this. If you're heating it up, you need to be using the coconut oil. So, all right. Well, you guys, I have to say thank you so much. It amazes me that you guys want to come and sit here and just chat with me about all this stuff, and it just tickles me to no end. So thank you so much for being here. We will have all kinds of more discussions about all this kind of thing. If you guys like this kind of food, I am working on a cookbook right now, which is a little bit tricky because there's no actual recipes. But to teach people how to cook this kind of food, to go back to learning how to eat with the seasons. So you can watch for that coming this fall, but that is in the works right now. And don't forget my muffin cookbook if you're just getting started on this journey and you feel like you need something that connects you with what feels like normal food and you need something like that. Our muffins are not elimination diet approved, but they are gluten-free and they are absolutely fabulous, and they are free of all the gums and all the icky things that can really cause so much pain and trouble in your body. So go check those out on our Etsy store. There is a link in the description already for that. And so that's my commercial for the day. And if you guys have any other questions, let me know. I'm just so so happy that you came and hung out with us today. It just means the world. And oh, hi Cynthia. Don't worry about being late. There'll be a replay, so don't worry about that. It just means so much to me that you showed up and said hello. So thank you. All right. I'm so proud of all the changes that you guys do and make for your family. It's absolutely wonderful. So hang in there and we'll get through all this together. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.